It's not the big decisions that shape your financial life. It's the tiny ones you repeat daily. Invisible habits build visible futures. Your financial future has already begun, even if you haven't realized it. Chapter 10. Self-control and invisible habits. Why habits shape your financial future more than your income? When people think about financial success, they often believe the decisive factor is income, earning more, receiving a higher salary, or unlocking a larger opportunity. Yet the truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. While income can open doors, habits determine whether those doors lead to stability or struggle. Your financial future is shaped less by how much you earn, and far more by what you repeatedly do with what you earn. This is why two individuals with similar salaries can end up in completely different realities. One may feel constant pressure, living in a cycle of stress, scarcity, and overwhelm. The other may feel grounded, stable, and steadily progressing toward long-term goals. The difference is rarely the paycheck. The difference is the patterns each person follows every day, the invisible routines that quietly influence every financial decision. Habits shape your financial life because they operate beneath the surface of your awareness. You may not openly declare them, but you live by them. They guide your impulse purchases, your saving decisions, your reaction to discomfort, and your response to opportunity. A habit of delaying gratification will protect you far more than a temporary increase in income. A habit of tracking your spending will reveal truths that raw earnings alone can never provide. A habit of learning, improving, and challenging your assumptions will compound into a stronger future. Income gives you potential. Habits give you results. Many people assume that earning more will fix their problems, yet when their income increases, their spending increases at the same pace. Without the foundation of disciplined habits, higher earnings simply create a larger stage for old behaviors. This is why sudden wealth is often temporary when it meets unprepared habits. The internal patterns that existed before the increase in income remain, and they pull the person back to their old financial limitations. Habits also shape the way you interpret money emotionally. A person who has built the habit of responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively will approach purchases with clarity. They will pause before acting. They will consider long-term consequences instead of short-term pleasure. This emotional discipline becomes a form of strength that no income bracket can replace. Your habits also influence your sense of financial identity. Someone who regularly practices saving, even in small amounts, begins to see themselves as someone capable of building wealth. Someone who invests consistently, even modestly, starts to think like a long-term planner. These identities are powerful because they direct your choices without requiring constant willpower. You act in alignment with who you believe you are, and habits shape that belief. This is why invisible habits matter so deeply. They transform your financial life from the inside out. They shift money from being something unpredictable and stressful to something structured and manageable. They create a sense of control that no external circumstance can undermine. And they ensure that when your income grows, your habits elevate your future instead of sabotaging it. Ultimately, your financial future is not built in moments of dramatic change. It is built in the quiet repetition of small, intentional actions. It grows each time you resist an impulse, make a thoughtful choice, or follow a system that supports your goals. Over time, these invisible habits compound, shaping a life that reflects consistency rather than chance. This is the great paradox of financial growth. The habits you build in private become the stability you experience in public. The discipline you practice silently becomes the freedom you enjoy visibly. Income may fluctuate, opportunities may shift, but habits, once cultivated, remain one of the most reliable predictors of long-term financial well-being. Your financial future is not determined by how much you earn, but by how consistently you act in alignment with the life you want to build. Habits create that alignment, and they create the future that follows. The snowball effect. Small improvements, huge results. One of the most powerful truths in personal finance is that transformation rarely happens through sudden, dramatic changes. It happens through small, quiet, almost invisible adjustments that accumulate over time. These small improvements, tiny shifts in behavior, decisions, and routines, begin to compound, creating results far greater than their modest beginnings suggest. This is the snowball effect, the principle that small, consistent actions grow into extraordinary outcomes when given enough time and discipline. At first, these changes may feel insignificant. Saving a few dollars, reducing an unnecessary expense, reading a single chapter of a finance book, or choosing not to make an impulsive purchase may not seem capable of influencing your future. They feel too small to matter. Yet these decisions carry immense weight because they represent a shift in direction. Even a slight change in trajectory, when extended over months or years, can lead to a completely different destination. The snowball effect works because small improvements are sustainable. They do not require dramatic sacrifices or overwhelming discipline. Instead, they align with your everyday life, gradually shaping your habits and financial identity. A person who becomes 1% more disciplined each week will not notice the change immediately, but over the course of a year, that small increase compounds into remarkable progress. This compounding, quiet but powerful, is what builds long-term stability. This principle is the foundation of nearly every financial success story. People who achieve meaningful progress rarely do it through sudden windfalls or perfect timing. They do it through consistency. They automate savings. They invest regularly, even in modest amounts. They make thoughtful decisions over impulsive ones. They follow simple systems that, over time, reshape their relationship with money. These actions are not dramatic, but they are transformative. The snowball effect also works because it strengthens your confidence. Each small win reinforces the belief that progress is possible. This belief fuels further action, creating a cycle of growth rather than discouragement. When you experience the impact of small habits, you begin to trust the process. You understand that your financial life does not need to be perfect to move forward. It simply needs to be intentional. Consider the example of someone who begins saving only 1% of their income. In the beginning, the difference is barely noticeable, but after a few months, they increase it to 2%, then to 3%, and over time, this gradual rise turns into a steady flow of savings. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. Their mindset evolves with their habits, and their habits evolve with their results. The snowball gathers momentum, and the future begins to change. This principle applies not only to saving, but also to paying off debt, building credit, investing, and even managing stress around money. Reading a few pages of a book, learning a single financial concept, or taking 5 minutes to review your spending are all small actions that build cumulative strength. Over time, these small actions create clarity, discipline, and confidence, qualities far more powerful than any single dramatic choice. The most profound aspect of the snowball effect is that it works in both directions. Positive habits create growth. Negative habits create decline. A series of small, careless decisions can quietly lead you into financial difficulty, just as a series of small intentional decisions can lead you into financial freedom. This duality underscores why awareness and consistency are essential. You are always building something, either momentum or resistance. The direction depends on the habits you choose. In the long run, the snowball effect teaches a simple but life-changing truth. Your financial destiny is shaped not by extraordinary actions, but by ordinary actions repeated consistently. The power lies in the accumulation. What begins as a single step becomes a path, and what begins as a small change becomes a new reality. Every small improvement is a seed. With time, discipline, and patience, those seeds grow into a future far greater than anything a single dramatic moment could ever create. How to automate decisions, automatic savings, simple budgets. One of the greatest advantages you can give your financial life is reducing the number of decisions you must make. Each decision, whether to save, spend, invest, or delay, requires mental energy. And when you rely solely on willpower, that energy eventually weakens. You become more vulnerable to impulse, emotion, and fatigue. Financial progress then becomes inconsistent, and inconsistency becomes the enemy of long-term success. This is why automation is such a powerful ally. When you automate key financial actions, you remove the friction that often disrupts your progress. You no longer need to persuade yourself to save, remind yourself to invest, or wrestle with the emotional weight of budgeting. Systems do the work for you. Decisions happen in the background quietly and consistently without demanding your constant attention. Automation transforms discipline from something you struggle to maintain into something that simply happens. The first step in this approach is automatic savings. Instead of relying on the intention to save what's left at the end of the month, you reverse the process. You save first and spend after. By setting up an automatic transfer to a savings or investment account, you ensure that your future receives the attention it deserves before your present demands take over. Even if the amount is small, the consistency creates momentum. This system protects you from emotional decisions because it bypasses them entirely. Automatic savings work because they align with human psychology. When money never reaches your checking account, you do not experience the emotional loss of transferring it manually. You adapt to the new baseline. You learn to live comfortably with what remains. And because the savings happen without effort, the habit becomes unbreakable, completely independent of your mood, your stress levels, or your impulses. The second step is adopting simple, sustainable budgets. Many people abandon budgeting not because they lack discipline, but because their systems are too complex. A budget that feels restrictive or overwhelming is unlikely to last. Instead, think of budgeting as a way of telling your money where to go, rather than wondering where it went. A simple structure, such as allocating a percentage for essentials, a percentage for goals, and a percentage for enjoyment, can bring clarity without burden. The key is to create a system that supports your life rather than controlling it. Simplicity increases the likelihood of consistency. When you know exactly how much is available for saving, spending, investing, and living, your decisions become easier and more aligned with your purpose. You remove guesswork. You reduce anxiety. You ensure that your financial actions reflect your priorities, not your impulses. Automating your decisions also builds trust in yourself. When you see your savings grow without effort, when you see your expenses align with your values, and when you see your goals moving forward steadily, you begin to internalize a new identity, one of stability and responsibility. This identity strengthens your emotional connection to your financial life, making it easier to continue the habits that support long-term growth. Another significant benefit of automation is that it protects you from moments of emotional vulnerability. Stress, temptation, and fatigue can all weaken your decision-making. But when your systems are automated, those moments lose their power. The savings continue, the investments continue, the budget remains in place. Your progress becomes consistent, even when your emotions are not. In the long run, automation creates a financial environment that works for you, not against you. It frees your mental energy for creativity, productivity, and personal growth. It allows you to focus on building your life instead of constantly managing your finances. Most importantly, it ensures that your daily habits reflect your long-term goals with minimal resistance. When you automate your decisions, you transform discipline into a system, and systems are far more reliable than willpower. Your future becomes clearer, your progress steadier, and your financial life finally begins to work in your favor. Case example: someone who transformed their life without earning more. To understand the true power of invisible habits, it is helpful to look at a real example, one that illustrates how a person can transform their financial life without increasing their income. This story shows that financial progress does not always begin with earning more, but with using what you already have in a wiser, more intentional way. Consider the case of Daniel, a man who earned a modest and steady income for years. He believed that his financial stress was caused by his paycheck, too small to keep up with expenses, too limited to build savings, and too restrictive to offer any sense of stability. He often told himself that once he earned more, his life would finally fall into place. But each year passed, and although his income grew slightly, his circumstances did not change. His expenses rose just as quickly. His habits remained the same. The pressure followed him everywhere. Daniel reached a turning point the day he reviewed an entire year of bank statements. What he saw surprised him, not because of a single large expense, but because of the countless small ones. It wasn't one major mistake that held him back. It was the accumulation of tiny, unnoticed decisions. Daily takeout meals, impulsive purchases, forgotten subscriptions, emotional spending after stressful days. Each amount was small, but together, they formed a pattern that quietly consumed his financial future. This realization shifted something inside him. Instead of focusing on earning more, he decided to focus on changing his habits. He did not start dramatically. He began with one small action, automating a tiny portion of his income into savings. At first, it was barely noticeable, but the consistency mattered. Little by little, he increased the amount as he adjusted his spending. That one system became the anchor for everything that followed. He then simplified his budget, not by restricting himself, but by creating clarity. He categorized his expenses and set intentional limits based on what genuinely added value to his life. Dining out remained part of his routine, but now he chose it consciously rather than emotionally. Subscriptions he forgot about were canceled. Impulse purchases declined because he adopted a 48-hour rule. None of these changes were extreme. They were simply deliberate. Within a few months, Daniel noticed something unexpected. He felt lighter. The constant tension around money began to fade. The moment he gained control over his habits, his anxiety decreased. He slept better. He felt more confident. He no longer avoided checking his bank account. The external numbers had changed only slightly, but the internal transformation was profound. Over time, the financial progress became visible. His small automated savings began to grow into a meaningful fund. His credit improved as he paid down balances with new consistency. He built an emergency cushion that protected him from unexpected expenses. His sense of stability increased not because he earned more, but because he wasted less, feared less, and managed more. What ultimately changed Daniel's life was not a raise, a promotion, or a sudden opportunity. It was a shift in behavior, a shift in mindset, and a commitment to small, sustainable habits. He discovered that his financial well-being was not waiting for him in the future. It was already within his reach, hidden in the choices he made every day. This example demonstrates a powerful truth. Financial transformation begins with control, not with income. When you manage your habits, you change your trajectory. You create order where there was once uncertainty. You replace fear with clarity. And you build a foundation strong enough to support future growth, whether your income increases or not. Daniel's story reflects what is possible when a person stops waiting for external change and begins cultivating internal discipline. His life improved, not because he earned more, but because he became more intentional, more aware, and more aligned with his goals. A higher income can open doors, but only better habits can lead you through them. Transformation begins with the choices no one sees, and those invisible choices build the future everyone else will. Your financial future has already begun, even if you haven't realized it. There is a powerful truth that often goes unnoticed. Your financial future does not begin at some distant milestone. It does not start the day you earn more, secure a promotion, or finally reach a particular savings goal. It begins the moment you decide to pay attention to your habits, long before you see any visible results. Every small choice you make today is already shaping the life you will experience tomorrow. Your financial future is not waiting for you in the distance. It is unfolding quietly, right now. Even if you feel uncertain, even if your progress seems slow, even if you believe you are not yet where you want to be, the path ahead has already been set in motion by the habits you are forming today. The way you respond to stress, the way you handle impulses, the routines you practice, the discipline you develop. These choices are constructing the foundation of your financial life, brick by invisible brick. Many people assume that their future will change only when their circumstances change. But circumstances are not the starting point. Habits are. Habits shape the direction of your life long before circumstances catch up. The discipline you build now ensures that when opportunities appear, you will be ready. The clarity you cultivate today ensures that when your income grows, you will manage it wisely. The consistency you practice today ensures that your future is built on stability rather than chance. This is why it is so important to recognize your progress, even when it feels small. Every time you resist an unnecessary purchase, every time you choose patience over impulse, every time you set aside even a modest amount for the future, you are already altering the trajectory of your life. These actions may seem minor, but they carry enormous weight. They represent a shift in identity, from someone who reacts to money to someone who directs it with intention. Your financial future has already begun each time you decide to act in alignment with the person you want to become. It begins when you choose responsibility over avoidance. It begins when you set a vision for your life and take even the first, smallest step toward it. It begins when you replace fear with clarity and uncertainty with structure. These moments mark the true beginning of financial transformation. Not the numbers on a statement, but the mindset that produces those numbers over time. This understanding also brings comfort. You do not need to wait for perfect conditions to start building the life you want. You do not need to wait until you feel ready. Progress does not require dramatic leaps. It requires consistent steps. And you have already taken many of them by choosing awareness, discipline, and intention. Even if the growth is not yet visible, it is happening beneath the surface, preparing the ground for future stability and freedom. Your future is not something distant that you will someday discover. It is something you are already creating. Each choice is a brushstroke, shaping the picture that will later become clear. Each habit is a seed that will eventually grow. Each discipline is a structure that will later support you. And each moment of awareness is a step forward on a journey that has already started. So as you continue to build invisible habits and strengthen your relationship with money, remember this: you are not preparing for your financial future. You are living in its earliest chapter. What may feel small today will become meaningful tomorrow. What may feel invisible now will define your stability later. And what may feel insignificant will eventually reveal itself as the foundation of your freedom. Your financial future is not waiting. It is already unfolding, calmly, quietly, and powerfully, through every intentional choice you make today. Conclusion of Chapter 10: The Power of the Invisible. Throughout this chapter, one truth has quietly echoed beneath every idea. What shapes your financial life most is not what others can see, but what only you know you practice. The invisible habits, the private decisions, the quiet disciplines, the small moments of self-control are the true architects of your future. They work in silence, long before any visible results appear. Yet their impact is profound, steady, and lasting. The world often celebrates dramatic transformations. It admires sudden success, major breakthroughs, and impressive milestones. But the foundation of every visible achievement is built on countless invisible actions. No one applauds the decision to cook at home instead of spending impulsively. No one notices the early morning when you review your budget, or the late evening when you reflect on your goals. No one sees the moments you pause before spending, or the quiet discipline of saving consistently. Yet these moments determine your life far more than any outward display ever will. The power of the invisible lies in its consistency. Visible success is often irregular and unpredictable, but invisible habits are dependable. They do not rely on motivation or external validation. They grow quietly, strengthened by repetition. They create a structure you can trust, a system that protects your progress when emotions fluctuate, when life becomes uncertain, and when circumstances change unexpectedly. Invisible habits also shape your identity. When you repeatedly choose discipline over impulse, you begin to see yourself differently. You start to trust your decisions. You gain confidence not from what you display to others, but from the stability you build internally. This inner stability becomes the source of calm in stressful moments and clarity in times of doubt. It becomes the anchor you return to when life tests your patience or your financial resilience. Another remarkable aspect of invisible habits is their ability to compound. Just as small financial actions grow into significant outcomes, small behavioral changes multiply over time. A single habit of tracking expenses evolves into a clearer sense of control. A small automated savings grows into a safety net. A tiny shift in mindset transforms into a new way of living. Every habit, no matter how small, becomes a building block in a structure that eventually supports long-term freedom. Invisibility does not mean insignificance. On the contrary, it is the invisible that sustains you. It is the invisible that guides you. It is the invisible that prepares you for opportunities you have yet to encounter. While others may focus on surface-level markers of success, your inner systems, the routines you cultivate in private, ensure that your success is stable, genuine, and lasting. And perhaps most importantly, Invisible habits empower you to break the cycle of emotional decision-making. They give you the tools to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. They help you build a life where your financial decisions are guided by clarity and purpose rather than fear or momentary desire. In this way, the invisible becomes your greatest strength, a force that quietly protects your future, even when the world around you is chaotic. The conclusion of this chapter is simple but transformative. Your financial freedom will not be built in moments of inspiration, but in the invisible habits you commit to every day. These practices may not feel extraordinary while you are living them, but they will create extraordinary results over time. They will shape your mindset, strengthen your discipline, and steadily construct a future grounded in stability, intention, and peace. The power of the invisible is the power to transform your life quietly, faithfully, and irrevocably, one small, consistent action at a time. If you believe this chapter could help someone, feel free to share it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this audiobook, please like and subscribe. Your support truly helps us keep creating more content like this.